Ladies and gentlemen, we have some big news coming from the podcast. I found the mic. I am ecstatic. I'm so happy right now. My smile is extremely wide. I can't wait to bring you the top content now. Before, without the podcast mic, I could only bring you like mid-level content. But now, with the podcast mic, are you kidding me? Are you for real? This cord is all tangled up, so it's kind of put me in a knot, but I am back. I am back. 100% back. We're at episode 9 or 10. Are we at 10 now? Oh my gosh. Happy 10th anniversary of the podcast. Is that how that works? 10 episodes. I mean, I've been doing this for a while now. No, we're at episode 9. Oh man, I missed 1 second. I'm looking at this now. I accidentally called it Fantasy Football Podcast episode 8 when it is in fact not episode 8. It is episode 9. And that was one of my big talking points that I wanted to get to today was this podcast. The analytics are all off for it. So I talked a lot about the analytics at the beginning of the last podcast. And how, I was trying to hit the 55-minute, blah, 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 blah. Turns out it was 4 minutes short. So I could have talked about Matthew's weekly report. And so I guess my point was that the analytics were off. I only recorded for 51 minutes. I didn't record for 55. So I was 4 minutes short. So that was going against me. And then it turns out I just figured out, the other thing was I was kind of posting on a regular basis at like 5 p.m. That seemed to be the prime time to release the podcast. I released this one at 1:30 as a special because it was late. And it was on a Wednesday. So 1:30 on a Wednesday, clearly the analytics are off. So I'm going to try to, maybe keep doing it on Monday, and go from there. But because the reason I see the analytics are off is, even though this may sound good for you lot out there, I've only gotten 8 views in one day. Usually it spikes to like 12. Usually I get like 12 within the first day, and then it kind of slowly builds up to like the 30. But I've only got 8. So I'm in deep trouble. I did not follow my analytics. I didn't do it right. I was looking at my channel. I was on YouTube Studio, and I just completely ignored what I had to do to make my podcast successful. So we're not going to let that happen again. That was a big mistake, and we ain't doing that again. So just wanted to announce that and say that, podcast mic. I've got the podcast mic back. It is the greatest day in the history of the Justice League Fantasy Football Podcast. Episode 10, mic's back. Let's get right into it. This is awesome. I'm gonna continue with the opening here. We're gonna go over these reports, which unfortunately are on my phone. So I'll be right back. Oh no, I've just realized that I went and talked about this weekly report. The thing about this the podcast mic, I'm going to get tripped up, is you have to hit record twice. So I guess this gives me a good, man, this is going to give me a good, wow, I can't even speak right, and this is my second chance. I'm just completely mental here. This is some great podcasting. I've got the podcast mic back, and I'm just blanking on what I need to say. So let's just restart real quick. So what happened was I just recorded like 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes of podcast, and I didn't realize that I wasn't recording, because you have to hit the record button twice, because there's like a test, there's like a sound check, and then there's an actual record. So basically I was going through Matthew's weekly report, and it's sick, and I was saying how sick it is, but then near the end I was just like, man, I've really just been rambling, because I barely even know what I'm talking about. So I all in all said I will do my research better for the next week or the next time I want to talk about this, so that I can go into it a little bit better and either have beef with it or respect it depending on where it puts me in all these categories. So I guess I did get a second chance, but I flubbed my second chance. So we're just gonna move on. Let's get right into the week 3. Talking about what happened, and then we'll go from there. All right, love you guys. See you in a second. So as you may have heard, just make sure the recording is going. The analytics are horrible for this past episode, so I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to turn around. But anyways, it has been a couple days. Yeah, it's been a couple days, and I'm only at 15 views. I'm at half the views that I normally get. So it's a bit ridiculous. But anyways, let's check out the league scoreboard as it stands before Monday Night Football. We'll go over a couple games that are wrapped up. We got Uncle Ron is good-hearted against New South Charlottetown. Not a great game at all. Uncle Ron sneaks away with his first win of the season. Aaron's going to be buzzing about that. I mean, Dak Prescott still has to play, so Uncle Ron can still, break 100 points. It's definitely possible. His team played much better. I mean, Saquon got 15, Najee 14, Keenan Allen 11. Keenan Allen, I think, has been probably the most consistent player on his team so far. Yeah, yes. So, Najee's doing much better, though. Still not breaking out that rushing, proficiency, but this week had a lot of receiving yards. No touchdowns, though. Allen Robinson, I feel you on that. I wish Allen Robinson would be better. But I guess he's got that Alexander Madison. Brandon Ayuk played well too. New South Charlie just decided to show up and smack me down, I guess, week 1 and has yet to show again. I did notice he benched Chase Claypool, which I think was smart, but it ended up being controversial because Chase Claypool got 9.6 points. Not really much to talk about this game. Because, it was so low scoring. Yeah, I don't know. Just not that much to go over, I don't think, really. Besides, Aaron's team is kind of turning it around. Even though he's going into Monday night with 73 points, he's still got his quarterback left to play. So if we give him, a floor of 20 points, that means Aaron's going to jump up to 93 points. So it'll be his first good game yet, I think, right? Let me check out his schedule. No. He had 90 points last week when I played him. 78, 89. But it doesn't look like he's going to break 100. I mean, he could. He definitely could. Depending on how well Dak Prescott plays. But we'll see. And then moving on. Dan bites kneecaps against Morning Chubb. That one's pretty much wrapped up too. Justin Tucker is one of Dan bites kneecaps' best players this week. But again, he still has Zeke, and if we give Zeke a floor of 11, then Dan bites Connor will have gotten 92, 93 points, which is not bad. It's not a bad stat line. But playing the Rams defense against Tampa Bay was controversial, to say the least. His teams turned out to be decent. Dan Bite. He's got 2 great quarterbacks. It's just kind of comes down to his running backs. Austin Eckler is good, but I guess the question, the jury's kind of still out on Zeke. Because it's only been, it's just so early in the season. It's way too early to call. But, he only got 4 points in the first game. But then he bounced back with 15 points. So we'll see how he, carries that out the rest of the season. And then over to Morning Chubb, he didn't set his lineup because, Dalvin Cook is out. Got unlucky with A.J. Brown being injured. Again, also controversial defensive play, but obviously he did check his lineup. He's got a great bunch, though. Jamal Williams sitting on there. Mike Williams. Oh, my God. Mike Williams is one of the best wide receivers. I didn't realize that. Oh, my gosh. Hopefully Alex will check his lineup and start Mike Williams. Ryan Tannehill kind of honestly should have had a better stat line. 3 passing touchdowns, 197 yards, 21.48 points with 2 interceptions. So he should have had 25 points, and that's pretty good. That's very good. But again, just kind of a boring, kind of quiet game. I mean, Dan will come away being 2-1, and Morning Chubb is gonna drop down to 1-2. And then kind of last one that's really finished. I mean, there's a chance, a very small chance, but there's a chance Tristan could pull off the upset, cut my nuts against footchiken, need a woman in his life. 68.2 points, 124.64. With Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. So it would have to be like 54-40, and Jalen Hurts would have had to have like a couple rushing touchdowns. Miles Sanders is going to have a couple rushing touchdowns, maybe like 100 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts, I mean, they're going to have to combine for 60 points. So it's going to be tough. So that whether that's 30-30, which is unlikely, or like 25-35, which is also unlikely. So it's basically it's wrapped up. But so basically that's wrapped up. Tristan drops to sorry about that. There's like a hair in my mic or something. They're projecting Tristan to have 100 points though, so it'll definitely be a much better week for Tristan. But he'll drop to 1-2, which he'll definitely be disappointed about. And then Luke is gonna improve to 3-0. So I'll probably record. I mean, I don't know. Beham Stinky G-Rats is likely to pass up I Chase Young Kids and take the win. It's likely, not guaranteed, but likely, because all he needs is 5 points. So 50 yards or even 45 yards would get the job done. And I mean, I'd tilt Amari Cooper to get 45 yards. I guess he only got 24 yards last week. But I'd still tilt him for that. And then my game against Sigmund JL, oh my gosh. I don't even want to say anything. Just because I don't want to leave it up to the juju. But my running backs did admirably. 15 and 14. That is something I'll take all day. And I guess we'll just start talking about the obvious. So this week, we had a couple major trades go down. One super major trade and another one kind of mid-level. The first one was Tristan and Aaron made a trade. Myles Gaskin and Devonta Smith for Elijah Mitchell and Michael Pittman Jr. Both guys taking some risks. Personally, if I was Aaron, I wouldn't want Myles Gaskin. I know Aaron had Myles Gaskin last year, so I know that feeling of wanting your players from last year back, because Aaron went to the championship, so championship team, you're going to want those players back. And I think he got a good player in Devonta Smith. But Devonta Smith's gonna be very boom bust this year, I think. And then Tristan, I understand why he did it. I mean, I'd want Elijah Mitchell too after that first week that he had. And then it just comes down to Elijah Mitchell getting back to full health. Because once he's back to full health, like, I'm sure he's gonna be one of the top running backs. Even though that backfield is so, like, they've got so many running backs. But, like, from watching that Green Bay San Fran game, they need a good running back, because they could not run the ball that game at all. They relied on Kuziak or whatever his last name is. I don't even know who he is. And Trey Sermon was kind of trash. So, but again, maybe Elijah Mitchell's only good because it was against Detroit, but I don't know. So I mean, both. I think both players took big risks in this trade. I think that's why it was such a fair trade, is because Gaskin is kind of trash, but there's the potential that he could get better. And then Elijah Mitchell is kind of trash, but there's that potential that if he's the lone San Fran running back, he's going to get so many touches, so much volume, it'll cancel out. And then Devonta Smith and Michael Pittman, I think that's like a perfect 1-for-1, except for the fact that Devonta Smith's a Heisman winner, but Michael Pittman gets a lot of targets playing for the Colts, so his volume could, match that. So I think overall in my humble opinion, overall that was a fair trade because it was like a couple bench players for a couple bench players, and I think everyone is like just no one really wants to trade their starters, but that's where we get into this next one. Is me and Tristan made a trade, Josh Allen for Antonio Gibson, 1-for-1, and I was buzzing about this trade. The only like the major thing was though I forfeited my draft strategy. That was I was completely and utterly forfeiting everything that I had worked for over the summer. I'd worked so hard for it, not that hard, but I just done so many mock drafts and gotten the 2 running backs that I thought were gonna lead my team, and then they did horribly. One of them did poorly for the first 2 weeks. That's Antonio Gibson. And watching that Washington versus New York Giants game is just, I just saw that the way they used him, and I was ticked off with it. And so basically I forfeited my draft strategy. My draft strategy was get 3 amazing running backs on my team to lead me the whole season. And I had Antonio Gibson, Chris Carson, and Aaron Jones, and I genuinely thought that was going to be the power trio. But I got the call from Tristan. He was looking to trade. I didn't like his initial trade. I think this is how it went down. I didn't like his initial trade, so I sent him a trade back. I replied, and yeah, I'm just trying to find where this is. Fantasy football trade has been rejected. It's been canceled. Yeah, so Tristan offered me on Tuesday Chris Carson for Devonta Smith and Myles Gaskin, but then I think he canceled that trade? Or no, Aaron did? I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay, so this is how it went down. Tristan offered me Corey Davis and Mark Ingram for Antonio Gibson. He knew I had been saying, I'm selling Gibson cheap. And so he offered me that trade, and I offered him back. I countered Antonio Gibson for Josh Allen because I noticed Allen was riding the bench. And then Tristan initially rejects it, but then he accepts it. He follows up and he says, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take that trade. And so I was nervous, but I was also buzzing. I was getting my boy back on the team, Josh Allen. And I couldn't be happier. I mean, Josh Allen just goes off this week. He got 37 points. 37 points. So I couldn't be happier. He's my man. I love Josh Allen. I guess the only, and then this bleeds into our come on man moment of the week. We're gonna have a little segment here. The come on man, we're stealing that from ESPN. That segment of this week is gonna be cut my nuts for trading for Antonio Gibson, his starting quarterback. He trades away his starting quarterback to Antonio Gibson, and he doesn't even play him. He rides the bench. Obviously, we know Tristan didn't mean to do it, but it's just, and we've already kind of beaten this, as a dead horse. But it is definitely the come on, man moment of the week. Trading your star quarterback away, getting a star running back, not playing him, and having that running back score like 17 points. When it rains, it pours for Tristan. When it rains, it pours. But I mean, I guess he still, quote unquote, technically could do it. Let's see. If he started Antonio Gibson, he'd have 14 more points. So he'd be at 82 points. So he'd be down 42 points. So at least that'd be a little bit more realistic, because that would be like Jalen Hurts gets 20 points, Miles Sanders gets 20 points. So at least it'd be a little bit more realistic rather than 60 points. So he would have had a chance. But that is definitely our come on man moment of the week. And then I was also going to drop a come on man onto Luke this week, because he dropped the Saints defense at the last second. Sunday, September 26th at 12:50 p.m. He drops the Saints defense to waivers, and the Saints, get 19 points. They get a touchdown, 3 interceptions, 2 sacks, and a blocked field goal, I think, to total 19 points. And so I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, what a choke. But then I swallowed my words a moment later, because the Cardinals, the defense he picked up, they got 15 points. They got a touchdown, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 sacks. So basically they did just as well as the Saints. I think I had previously, picked up the Cardinals and then dropped them, which I guess was a bit of a mistake by me, but I was looking to get who did I pick up as my defense? Oh yeah, I had to pick up the Panthers defense because they were playing against Houston, who's got a second string quarterback, and Panthers defense was going 11 points, 14 points. And they had, already gotten 3 interceptions and a whole bunch of sacks. And so I figured they were going to absolutely annihilate these guys. But they got 10 points, which I'm happy about. But they just didn't do as well. So I guess I took the L there, even though I was going to give the L to Luke for that one. I ended up taking that L. And then props to Aaron for seeing that Alexander Madison on Sunday morning, and then also to Luke for picking up Peyton Barber. Those were both 2 clutch pickups that I am kind of ruining. I wish I would have made those moves. Another thing I wanted to know was I should have just, I'm going back to this trade between me and Josh Allen. I'm just Josh Allen was great and he won me the game this week, no doubt. But at the same time, I'm over here sitting thinking I should have just kept Kirk Cousins on my team. I mean, I totally trashed him in my opening power rankings, and I think I trashed him in my thing, but Kirk Cousins has literally been one of the best gosh dang it. Where? Minnesota. Thank you. Has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Fantasy wise at least. And I mean they're 3-0, aren't they? Did they win all 3 games? Maybe they lost to Arizona, but his stat line is 22 points, 25 points, 25 points. And I mean, there's no sign of slowing down. He'll go to Cleveland, or he's got Cleveland and Detroit at home, so that's another 2 good weeks. Then he's got at Carolina, which is not great, but he could do fine. And I mean, I could have just kept him on my team, and if I had kept him on my team and played him this week with 25 points, and then had Antonio Gibson at my flex, so 25 plus 16 for Gibson, 41. So I would have been up 4 points. So I would have been at 95.82 points with, I guess, maybe CD Lamb would have started instead of Sterling Shepard. I'm not sure. But let's just say for the sake that he didn't. So I would have had Dallas Goedert. I would have been up 8 points with Dallas Goedert against Greg Zuerlein going into. So I would have been almost absolutely fine, and I wouldn't have had to trade away my. I would have had to abandon my draft strategy. Could have just played on with Kirk Cousins. So, live and learn. Obviously, I'm happy to have Josh Allen on my team. That being said, though, if anyone wants to trade for Josh Allen, I actually think me and Tristan put a conditional on the trade. But I'm not sure if he's going to hold me up to that or not. I did give him an option. I said, if I beat Matthew this week and you win, I'll give you the option to get Allen back. Because, yeah. So, unfortunately, Tristan didn't win. If he wants to trade him back, I would definitely consider it. But I might need to take, someone off your hands. So maybe Sony Michel. Maybe give me Sony Michel too. But if that's asking too much, I might actually consider it. Tristan, this is a shout out to you right now. I might consider it. You can send it my way, keep it going for a couple days, but I might consider, getting Antonio Gibson back, having just done that 1 week trade. Because I'm legit about Kirk Cousins. That being said, I bet you once I pick up Kirk Cousins, he's just going to start playing horribly. But anyways, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I just thought that was funny. All right, any other big news? I guess the other big news is my playoff percentage. I forget what it was to start the season, but it just keeps creeping up. ESPN, they doubted me, but it definitely helps that I picked up Josh Allen, but it just keeps. I think I was like 18%. Wasn't I 18? I was like definitely 20% or lower to start the season, and now I'm at 49%. And final standing projection, they've got me at 5th. So ESPN, man, you guys disrespect me. Didn't appreciate that. And now look at me. But that being said, I have had to make 14 moves. A couple moves I have, picked up and then redropped players. Like, for example, I think I made a couple moves picking up the same player a couple times. So give me a bigger start date. When did we do our draft? Okay. So that's September 4. So yeah, I mean, the first move I made was like right after our draft. I dropped the Bears defense and picked up the Dolphins. Oh yeah, Darnell Mooney I added and dropped twice. I added Darnell Mooney, then dropped. I drafted Darnell Mooney, but dropped him for Le'Veon. Then I dropped Le'Veon and added Darnell. And then I dropped Darnell Mooney again for Nelson Aguilar. And then I've kind of gone back and forth with Zach Moss. Like, I dropped him, added Kenneth Gainwell. Then I dropped Kenneth Gainwell, added Sterling Shepard. Then I dropped Daniel Jones and added Zach Moss. So there's been a couple like reshuffles of just kind of shuffling players around. So I guess my moves. So like, I mean, if you go to like rosters or whatever, my thing is going to be a little bit misleading because let me find it. It says I definitely have free agency, but like Zach Moss. Okay, I guess the rest of these guys definitely are free agency. But Zach Moss is technically a draft. Aguilar, Christian Kirk, Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, those are free agency. Defense and kicker though, those shouldn't count against me as like big moves. I still pretty much got my core. I guess I do have Josh Allen from a trade. But anyways, I guess I don't know what my point was there. It was just, I guess, even though I do have a bunch of moves, not all of them have been like blockbuster moves that are really changing my team. They're just kind of, I'm just shuffling my bench around is all. You know what I mean? Like these moves aren't that crazy. I'm really just shuffling my bench around. So anyways, I guess that's, I'm trying to make my coaching, that coaching percentage. I just still didn't look up what all that stuff meant, but I'm assuming it has to do with moves and moves that you made. But I'm just trying to salvage my coaching percentage if that is something that can be salvaged. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna hope that we get some good drama. I mean, I'll wrap up. I'll definitely talk about the conclusion of Sigma JL and me, and then also B-Ham versus iChase. I'll try to talk a little bit about those. I don't know what else. I mean, the big blockbusters were those two big trades, and then we'll go over the report. We can go over the report again this week a little bit more in depth, and then obviously we'll look ahead to next week, because next week is the last kind of divisional play week. There is like teams will. Well, no, I mean, I'm really excited for the upcoming schedule. I'm probably going to talk about this way too much, but for some reason it just gets me kind of jazzed up. So next week is the last like mostly divisional plays, which basically just means like most teams are going to be playing someone from their division, and then we get into like some really saucy trans-divisional play. So there is some interdivisional play, but starting week 5, we've got a lot of... Oh, no, maybe not week 5. Okay, sorry, week 5 is probably the last week, and then it goes... And then Yeah, week 6, everyone, all the Droid Army of Champions, they're all heading out to the coast to go play the loser slack off site gym. Every single team is away at a loser slack off like gym, and then the next week we're all home. All the loser slack offs like gym are coming to visit us. So there's gonna be a lot of good headbutting tension. Who's the best division? Who's got the best teams in the division? Who's most competitive? It's gonna be exciting, because then for another week 8, we go do the same thing. We all go travel to the coast. We're playing different teams. We all go travel back to the coast. And then we stay at the oh my god, this is nuts. We stay at the coast for one more week. So, wow. I think it's exciting. I don't know if anyone else is going to think it's exciting, but I just think it's kind of exciting that we're going to get a lot of good loser slack offs versus Dwight Army. I think that's a fun, I think it's kind of like a fun thing to have that division rivalry between the two. So week 6, 7, 8, and 9, 4 weeks straight. We've got a lot of good cross divisional play. It's exciting. And then that's a long time from now, because then that wraps us into week 10. And then for week 10, we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, or I guess 5 weeks left. So by the time that we're done with our little tour of the loser slack offs like gym playoffs. I mean, the playoffs are almost going to be, they won't be set, but the picture will definitely be a little bit more clear. And then, I mean, I'm just excited to see, at the beginning of the season, I was excited to see Sigma JL grind set, but now I'm excited to see where footchiken need a woman in his life goes. I mean, holy moly. He looks like it seems like there's just absolutely no limits for him right now. I mean, he goes to play me, and I'm quaking in my boots. I don't have very good matchups for a game against him. Then he's at home against Matt. That's a dub. And then he goes and visits Alex, dub. Then he has Zach, week 7. Okay, so that's going to be the one guy that's going to stop him in this little streak. So Luke could easily go 6-0, and then it's up to Zach to take him down. But if Zach doesn't take him down, he travels to Aiden, which could be close. We'll see. And then he travels to Tristan. Sorry, Tristan, but right now that's a dub for Luke. And then he hosts Aaron, dub. And then he goes back to Sigma JL grind set, which will be the next competitive game. So Luke is, I mean, if he keeps his course, I'm predicting easy 12 win season for him with 2 loss max, if we even give him a loss to Matthew and Zach. So I'm putting the onus out there, Luke. You're going to be our first 12-win season. 12 wins, 2 losses. Oh boy. Maybe second repeat champion. Because I mean, I just got to give it to him. I got to give him the props. Like at the beginning, we'll go back to Sigma JL, because I don't want to leave Sigma JL in the dust. But he's just easily one of the most well-rounded teams out there right now. Herbert at QB. Devonta Adams and Cooper Kupp at wide receiver. Probably the best fantasy pairing I've seen in a while. Like, this is just unreal. I mean, probably since when I had Derrick Henry and John Taylor last year. I think that was like an unreal fantasy pairing. Or Derrick Henry and Chris Carson. I don't know. Pick your poison, whichever of those pairings you want. I just want to go real quick and, I don't know, just check out like week 13 or week 12. See what my pairing was then. Week 12 I played Aaron, and I had, Derrick Henry and Carlos Hyde, okay, who was the backup for Chris Carson, who was injured that week. Jonathan Taylor was sitting on the bench. Alright, so week 12 I made a kind of a drastic move. Anyways, let's get back to Luke. Devonta Adams, Cooper Kupp has to be one of the best fantasy pairings I've ever seen. And then add Travis Kelce into the mix. Jeez, oh man. I mean, that is just ridiculous. Because no one's going to stop Devontae Adams. He just dominated the San Fran defense. And Cooper Kupp just dominated the Tampa Bay defense. So who's going to stop these guys? The Rams isn't going to stop Cooper Kupp. He plays on the Rams. The Rams aren't going to stop Devontae Adams. He's just going to roll through them. I don't even know if they play Green Bay. Yeah, they play Green Bay week 12. So they play Zona, Arizona, Seattle, New York Giants, Detroit, Houston, Tennessee, San Fran, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Arizona. Who's going to stop Cooper Kupp? No one's going to stop him. Only an injury would stop him. That's the only thing that's going to slow this dude down. And then Devonta Adams, for real, the same thing. Maybe Pittsburgh this week. But then he goes, plays Cincinnati, Chicago, Washington, Arizona, KC, Seattle, Minnesota, the Rams. So, I mean, who's going to slow those guys down? No one. The only critique, again, is his running backs. But then you go look at his running backs, and his bench running backs are insane. He's got Peyton Barber, which might just be 1 week. Peyton Barber might just have boomed this 1 week because I think Josh Jacobs is injured and Kenyon Drake or whatever is no good. I don't know. I don't know why Peyton Barber got all those touches. But James Conner had a rough start to the season, but he just boomed 17 points. So I mean, he could keep going off. And then James Robinson, pretty sure he the lone back now. I think he's the lone back now. So he's the lone back in that Jacksonville running back spot. And I mean, he's probably going to start repeating performances from last year once Jacksonville, figures it out a little bit more. So I mean, and then he's got Joe Mixon and Chase Edwards playing, and Joe Mixon isn't great, and Chase Edwards, I guess, is the other Arizona running back. But I mean, if he has Joe Mixon and James Robinson, that's going to be just fine, considering the fact that he has Devonta Adams, Cooper Kupp, and Travis Kelce. It's just not fair. It's just looking at it right now, and I mean, it also helps to see these massive numbers next to their name because they all just had a fantastic week. But it really just looks like Luke is going to just be rolling past people, and I mean, it's just going to come down to whether his team stays healthy or not because he's got the team. He's got the team to beat right now. And then that being said, I mean, I guess I had a similar overreaction to Sigma JL Grindset in week 1. That's not to say Sigma JL Grindset hasn't been playing well since, because he has been playing well. He's got 99 points, and he's going to probably break 90 points again this week. So it's not that he's doing poorly. His team is still very, very, extremely well-rounded. And I mean, Patrick Mahomes had a bad week, and guess what? He got 22.9 points. Still crazy. Kamara's no sign of stopping him. Tyson Williams, I guess. But Tyson Williams isn't even his first start. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's played Darrell Henderson Jr. in those weeks. So Darrell Henderson Jr. is out, obviously. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. He's just got a rib injury, so he might, be fine soon. And then his pairing, so I thought this was going to be, I guess I shouldn't say that because I knew Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams was going to be great. I guess there was just that risk of, is Rodgers going to show up, and is Stafford going to show up? And, well, guess what? They're both fantastic players, so of course they showed up. So, but before that, I was totally thinking Diggs and Godwin is going to be the duo to beat, and he's got Brown on the bench. So I guess I don't know where my point was. I guess I maybe overreacted a little bit that first week and how good his team was. But I mean, it's like I feel like it's just wrong to say that it was an overreaction because his team is so good too. Like Darren Waller sitting at his tight end position, that's not fair. That's not fair. I got a little bit lost in my train of thought there. But I guess I'm just looking at the powerhouses, and I've lost my train of thought for sure. But I guess what my point is that I'm trying to make is to myself is that Luke won't just roll over everyone. Even though because we thought Matthew was going to roll over everyone, and he's I don't want to say Matthew's playing bad, but he's just not rolling over everyone like we thought. So there is hope for the league. There is hope I guess that's my point, is there's hope for the league that Luke won't just roll over everyone, and that you do have a chance to beat him. Even though it's looking slim right now, there is a chance that you will be able to beat Luke, and that is prefaced by Sigma JL's Grind Sets. Great team who played well the first week and who's been playing fine since, but I'm going to add that in, I'm not saying he will, but he may fall to 1-2 just because of, a couple, bad performances from his players, and then a couple really good performances from the teams that he's played. So there is hope for the league. There's another segment I had in mind that I wanted to do, but I can't recall. And then I also want to apologize because there's no way I'm adding timestamps this week. I have no clue. I didn't this is because I've got it on the podcast mic. I've got no sense of time. I guess I could do a better job of stopping the recording and then starting it back up, but because that's what I did on my phone, and so that's why I was able to have timestamps. But yeah, shoot, I forget the segments. I mean, I guess I could just. So last week I didn't give out any trophies. So maybe on the podcast I'll do the trophies rather than post them in the thing, because it might be a little easier. So I've got the Come On Man. I've already done that. That sounds. Saying it like that sounds bad when you just say Come On Man. I'm gonna come. Do not come. So, okay, all right. Got distracted. But we'll do the trophies. So the trophies are, if you don't know, we've got some trophies that I've done, and I did them first week, but I forgot to do them last week because I was pressed for time, didn't have any time, barely had time to do the podcast. That's probably why the analytics are so bad. It was just a bad episode podcast. But our trophies are the East Lansing Applebee's Run, and that's for scoring the least points this week. And then we've got the Wendy's Guy, scoring the most points this week. Naps McGee for being the most slept on. Moving to Kansas City. You didn't do bad per se, but it just could have been better. Boy Farm Memorial Trophy. You tried, but it was all in vain. The Fellowship failed. The Dow's Last Call. You got to be more consistent. Everyone wants to see it. Spray and Banana Challenge for losing by the largest margin. And Connor's Canoopy for a hard-fought win. So let's start with, I think we can give it out, the East Lansing Applebee's Run for scoring the least points. Pretty sure if I was Tristan and Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders didn't combine for more than 2 points, I would retire from fantasy. And that sounds mean. Or 4 points. But I would retire from fantasy. I just, not that it's not what he's done. It's just that the luck just isn't there. I mean, if they can't combine and he ends up finishing, with the least amount of points, that would be horrible. Oh my God, he doesn't even matter. I totally forgot about Matt. Okay, sorry, Tristan. That wasn't a roast. I was just saying that you should keep playing fantasy. Keep playing fantasy. I knew that wasn't a roast. Just keep playing fantasy. So all in all, okay, I glanced over Matt. I forgot that he only had 64 points with no one left to play. So New South Charlie Town gets that crowning jewel of scoring the least posts this week, getting that East Lansing Applebee's Run trophy. Wendy's Guy. Everyone wants to be Wendy's Guy. Well, except for Zach. He doesn't want to be for some reason. Some crazy reason. But everyone else in the universe wants to be Wendy's Guy. So, Wendy's Guy, most points in the week. If you score the most points, you get to be Wendy's Guy. That looks like it's going to a foot chicken need a woman in his life. The only other person who could compete was, like we're saying with Tristan, if he gets 60 points, or me, if CeeDee Lamb, gets 30 points somehow. Like if he goes off, gets a bunch of points, and then Dallas Goedert gets a bunch of points. So it's not likely, but I guess it's possible. It could happen. It's small percent, but I guess it's possible. But we're still going to reward that trophy to Luke. Congratulations, you are Wendy's Guy this week. Naps McGee whenever the boys, we go on a trip, there's always one person who ends up taking too many naps, goes to bed too early, misses out on the fun. He gets labeled Naps McGee. So it's been between, I think Aiden and Matt have the most titles, tied at like 1. How many trips have we done? We've done like 4, maybe 5. I was in the running for Naps McGee, I think this past year or maybe a couple years ago. I was taking some naps for sure. But anyways, Naps McGee, we give it to the guy for being the most slept on, just because it like works with the wordplay. Being we slept on this guy. We thought he was taking a nap this week, but he didn't. And I feel like I gotta hand that out. Okay, there's gonna be two possibilities. Me, if I can complete the victory, if I can, grit it out, finish the game strong, I think I will give myself that Naps McGee, because I think personally I slept on me the most. I don't know if anyone else did, but I personally slept on myself the most. I definitely, was going into it kind of rolling over. Definitely thought I was losing Sigma jail. So I'd give myself that. The other person, if they pull out the win, be him, Stinky Rat Jews, they would get that too. They would get that for being the most slept on this week. Actually, maybe Aaron. So there's 3 possibilities. Aaron might get that, because I was definitely sleeping on him. For sure. I mean, I knew he had a tough division, but I wasn't paying any attention to Aaron this week, and then he goes out and he gets his first win. So you know what? We're going to give it to Aaron. Aaron, you get the Naps McGee trophy, even though in real life the Naps McGee trophy is something you don't really want. It's in fantasy, it's something you do want. All right, moving to Kansas City. I'm moving somewhere. I'm moving somewhere. I mean, it's Kansas City, so it's like maybe kind of cool, but it could have been better. Could have been like Boston. Could have been Chicago. Could have been, San Fran, LA, San Diego, Dallas, Austin. Somewhere cooler, a little bit more pizzazz than Kansas City. But not necessarily bad, but could have been better. So who will we give that to this week? Not necessarily bad, but could have been better. Two people. I'm looking at 2 people this week. I'm looking at Sigma Jail Grindset and Dan Bites Kneecaps. Dan Bites Kneecaps, he's going to get that win. He's going to get probably 90 points. Who does he have left to play? I'm not sure. Let me check that out. He's got Zeke's. Yeah, so he'll probably get 90 points. So I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give it to him because he got the win. He didn't do bad. He got 90. He got the win, but it could have been better. Could have had some better performances from his players. So he's going to get that. Boy Farm Memorial Trophy will likely go to one of 2 people. Will likely go to Sigma JL or Cut My Nuts. Cut My Nuts because he might finally get a good scoreline this week. Or might, not finally, but he might get another good one going on, because week 1, 95 points, that's a pretty good scoreline, by the way that we play in this league. So I think if his team comes out and it gets him 30 points or 40 points isn't going to be an ask, but it could happen. I think he might get that Boy Farm Memorial because he definitely tried, and I mean he made the changes. He made a couple tough, well, yeah, I guess you can get the come on man and the you tried. He made it. He still made a tough decision, trading away Josh Allen, trading away a couple players. So he tried. He went out there. He made an effort to change his team around. He tried, but it looks like it's going to be all in vain coming up against footchiken need a woman in his life. So he's going to get that. Dow's last call. Like it's this bar that we like to go to. It's like our hometown bar. But they, their last call was, so stupid. On, a Thursday or Friday night. I forget when we went. But their last call was, 10:30 at night. And we're, we just left to go, hang out at, 9. So we had to, we barely hung out there for, an hour, if that. and we're already getting our last call. And then other nights it would be like 12:30. We never got to see it be won, but it was just super inconsistent, super annoying. So that's why that trophy's been renamed to Dow's last call. I think it's appropriate. I think the league would appreciate that. It's good inside comment for us. And that's, you got to be more consistent. Everyone wants to see it. You got to be more consistent. And I think I'm going to give that to I Chase Young Kids. He, went out, lost that first week, came out, boom, massive score last week, and then he's lost it. He lost his consistency. He dropped down to 74 points, half of what he scored last week. So I want to see that consistency, Chase Young Kids. I know I was ESPN was hyping you up, and then I was hyping you up. So, but now you're putting us both to shame. So it's kind of a shame. Want to see the consistency though. If you want to be a championship, got to be consistent. Sprite and Banana Challenge. Go watch it on YouTube. YouTube.com/footchiken. Search for Sprite and Banana Challenge. It was just so dumb. Zach had the idea that we drink a liter or 2 liters of Sprite and then 3 bananas, something like that, something stupid, and all it does is just make you throw up. Like, it just makes you feel sick. Like, why do it? Who knows? So it's an L. It's taking an L. If you did it, you took that L, and you're losing by a lot. So we've got it for losing by the largest margin. Right now, it's looking like that might be Tristan. Could be Alex. Alex might be losing by the largest margin. Could be Matt, even, depending on how well Dak Prescott does. Could be Matt. So one of those guys is going to get it. And then last but not least, Connor's Canoe P. Just what a legendary moment in the time of the boys. I'm pretty sure we had mostly everyone. I think Aiden was not there. I think Aiden was not there, but this was at a lake house. We had a bunch of canoes, and we took them all out on the lake, and we were paddling around, and we were far away from our house, but we were kind of in the middle of the lake. Like, it was just in an awkward spot, and Connor had to pee. And so I don't know if we dared him or we just were like, oh, it'd be funny if he peed off the side of the boat. But we end up doing this whole like rigmarole so that he can go stand up in his canoe and pee off the side of it. And it was just it was kind of funny. It was this whole thing. Like, we had our super canoe where we had like 3 canoes like linked up right with each other, and he stands up. Me and Matthew are holding him steady, and he takes his leak, and then it was just like took way too, like, we were thinking about it. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. Like, we were just thinking about it way too long, and it was taking, like, we were just trying too hard. Like, it should have been way easier than we made it, from what I recall. But it was a win because he ended up doing it. He ended up peeing. But the funniest part, in my opinion, was right after that, Tristan or someone piped up and goes, I have to pee. And then, a couple of people piped up, like, yeah, me too. And so what we did, we just ended up paddling into shore and, like, going to the bathroom on shore. So, like, it was just kind of, it was funny. It was funny. So we'll move on. Connor's Canoe P, hard fought win. We're gonna give that, if Beham Sticky Jugats wins, we're gonna give it to him, because that is gonna be hard fought. It's gonna be gritty. It's not a pretty win, but it's hard fought. It was gritty, and that'll be a good win. Or if Cut My Nuts wins, we're definitely giving it to him. So it's either gonna, or me. If I win, I'd probably get it. So yeah, so that's the last segment. We did trophies, and then we'll wrap up. We'll go briefly over Matthew's report if he makes one for this week, and then we'll talk briefly about what's it called? Because I'm running out of time. I'm supposed to hit 55 minutes, and I'm pretty sure my intro was long. So we're going way off with the analytics again this week. I'm going to be way over 55 minutes, so I'll try to tie it down. I won't go too far over an hour. I'm probably only going to have a couple minutes to say something about next week. But thanks so much for listening. I'll say this again, but thanks so much for listening. So let's get into what's happening, or what happened after Monday night, and then we'll get into what's happening next week. Ladies and gentlemen, week 3 is in the books officially. Just to recap real quick what happened last night. Pretty much everything that we expected. So I ended up beating Matthew. Luke ended up beating Tristan. Aaron ended up beating Matt. Aaron did have a good game by Dak, so Aaron finally gets into the 90s. Connor broke into the hundreds with Zeke. Zeke went off, got him 23 points. So Morning Chubb is definitely the biggest loser this week, I think. And actually, it's pretty close. But Tristan, I think, is just under 30 points difference. And Morning Chubb is just over 30-point difference. So I think Morning Chubb is definitely the recipient of the East Lansing Applebee's, or no, the Spurt and Banana Challenge. I can't forget what trophies I mentioned that I was thinking about giving out, so I apologize. And then Behem Sticky Rat Juice could not complete the comeback. I mean, I was sitting there watching the game, and I was kind of more thinking about my team, but like every now and then it would pop up. I'd be like, oh my god, Amari Cooper hasn't had a reception in forever. And I'm pretty sure he only got he was only targeted like 3 times and made like 2 catches. Okay, so he was targeted 4 times and made 3 catches for 26 yards. So all Aiden needed was 45 yards from Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper couldn't give it to him, which is a bit of a shame. So Aiden, although neither team really quote-unquote deserves the win, neither team really did that well. They would have only beaten 2 teams in the league had they been playing other teams in the league. So like their medium in Matthew's median ranking, it will be excuse me, they will both be taking the L this week, but yeah, so my point was just neither team really deserved the win, quote unquote, but I think Aiden maybe deserved it a little bit more. Like he deserved a better performance by Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper should not just be getting 26 yards. That's ridiculous. But anyways, Zach comes away with a win, improves to 2-1. Aiden drops to 1-2. And then I guess if I'm trying to keep it under an hour, I don't have that much time, so I guess I'll just go quickly over next week's stuff. So I'm faced with a footchiken needle woman in his life, and I am not lying to you. I'm quaking in my boots. But the one thing that I think is kind of dumb is Joe Mixon is projected 17 points. When do you think the last time Joe Mixon was projected 17 points? Never. Like he's always projected like 3 or something like that. And he gets a very favorable matchup against Jacksonville. So we'll see. Might be a rough one for me because my matchups aren't that favorable. But Devontae Adams is playing Green Bay and Cooper Kupp is playing Arizona, so maybe there's some favorability in there headed my way. So we'll see. Obviously I'm picking footchiken needle woman in his life to win that one. Next on the slate is Dan Bites Kneecaps versus Uncle Ron is Guitarted. This is a good game for Aaron to prove his mettle, and a good game for Connor to come back out and get a top division win. Prove that he can beat those loser stock off, or that he can beat the Dwight Army of Champions teams. Unless I'm mistaken, and he already has. Week 2, who did he play? No, yeah. So Connor, it's a good chance for Connor to come out, prove his worth, and get the season rolling. Roll right into the good stuff. All right, next up we got. Who am I picking for that game? I'm gonna pick Dan Bites. Dan Bites Kneecaps. I mean, both are trending up. No doubt. But I think Dan Bites just has the better team right now. Concerning who's playing good football. Yeah. So, Cup My Nuts versus Behem Sticky Rat Juice. Aiden is going to be reeling a little bit because Christian McCaffrey's out, and I don't think Aiden's going to be bottom of the waiver wire. But he might be. So, because Alex probably isn't going to make a waiver claim. Matt probably won't make a waiver claim. And so Aiden's going to be like the next worst team, so it's going to be up to him to make that waiver claim. It's either him or Aaron. So him or Aaron is going to get Chuba Hubbard on their team. So maybe he won't be reeling that bad, but he definitely loses a major player in Christian McCaffrey. And he's going to have to figure out the squad because he played really well week 1, but he's not played that well since. And Tristan is trending kind of upwards. Tristan's, always going to be going up and down, but he's definitely trending upwards with the trade and his QB play. So we'll see. I'm picking Cut My Nuts for that one to win for sure. Push both those teams to 2-2. New Stuff Charlie versus Sigma Jail grind set, the rivalry battle of the mats. It's developing into quite the annual spectacle to see what happens between these two. And it should be interesting. I think Sigma's gonna win. I guess maybe because of the tradition of Sigma Jail Grindset and all he's done in his years. But never count out New South Charlie Town. Never count him out. Never count Matt out. But I'm still gonna pick Sigma Jail. Last but not least, Morning Chubb versus I Chase Young Kids. Pretty easy to pick. Zach's gonna win. Axe just doesn't take care of his team, especially if Dalvin Cook is still out and AJ Brown. If both of those guys are out, that's easy win for Zach. All right, so there you go. That's the week 4 slate. Should be interesting. I guess one last comment is ESPN loves Luke's team. They are giving him a 97% chance to make the playoffs right now. 97%. That is unreal. I Chase Young Kids is the next highest at 88%. And then Sigma Jail is the next highest at 71. Then me at 61. So it just goes, I'm ESPN, man. I'm proving them wrong. I'm doing a good job proving them wrong right now. Albeit with a little luck, but sometimes you need luck in fantasy. So, but I guess the good news for everyone in the league, as it always is in the first couple weeks, is the records are pretty similar. There's no, we don't have any we do have one 3-0 team, but we don't have any 0-3 teams. Pretty much everyone's 1 there's so many people that are 1-2. So we've got 1 3-0, 3 2-1s, and then 6 1-2. So that just means that there's still a lot to play for, and playoffs are still wide open. Because this week, let me see, there's going to be 1, 2. Okay, never mind. There's 2 matchups where teams could go to 2 and I don't know what I'm trying to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, basically every team this week is, has the opportunity to go 2-2. So, so it's still very close. It's still going to be really competitive all the way throughout the season, and trying to get that playoff spot. Alrighty, I'm going to try to get the analytics going for this. We'll see if it works better than last week. But again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hashtag it. Don't go changing. And I'll talk to you next week.